wake up, it's time to be free. Wake up, was blind, now I see. Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
So welcome, this is Jullien Gordon, and this is another episode of the Daily Jules, where I drop nuggets of wisdom to help you increase your degrees of freedom. I don't care how many college degrees you have. The only degree that matters is your degree of freedom. I don't care how much money you make. The only thing that matters is how you actually make money. Today, we have an amazing question from Narisha, who is asking, what steps did you take to write your first book? I can answer this one as a 7-time author now. I even have books that I've written that aren't fully published yet because I'm waiting for the market to ripen. I can break this down because I am able to write books in less than 30 days. Honestly, if you're focused, there's no reason that you can't get a self-help book out, a how-to book out in 30 days. A fiction book or something else like that, if you're writing Octavia Butler book, that might take you longer. But ultimately, you really just want to be in alignment, and you want your book to be more of a download that where you're in flow. So there's some days in the book that I'm writing right now, Freedom Before 40, I wait for waves of energy where I feel I wake up and I'm inspired, and then I go ride that wave. It's kind of like a surfer. This is one approach that I've taken recently, is like a surfer. You wait for the wave, and when the wave comes, you ride it. There's other people like Steven Pressfield, who wrote the War of Art, which is a great book about writing. But don't go use it to procrastinate on actually writing. Steven Pressfield, he talks about saying, I'm going to show up to this computer or this writing device, whatever you're using to write. I'm going to show up at this time every single day, and I'm going to wait on my creator or wherever you source your inspiration. I'm going to let you know I'm going to be there. Meet me there if you want me to say something to the world. Right? So there's kind of two approaches. There's a surfer approach, and then there's I'm going to show up every single day approach. And then there's other people who say, regardless of what happens, I'm going to try to output this many words per day. So there is a challenge every November. What is it? It's like Nano or something, like National Author Month. And it's like this challenge. I have to look it up and put it in the show notes. But it's this challenge where people come together and try to write, I think, a 10,000 word book every November. So I've written, my first book took 3 years before I understood this, and I want to accelerate that timeline, compress time for you. My second book, once I understood this, only took 30 days. And that book was Guaranteed Goals, which is here. Guaranteed Goals, how to guarantee you succeed at any goal you set in advance. This book was written less than 30 days using guaranteed goal setting process. So I'm going to explain to you how this worked. So here's how I got myself activated. When I decided that I was going to write this book, the first thing I did was not plug in words to a page. I actually plugged in words to an invitation, And so I sent out an invitation to friends, letting them know I was going to have a draft to them. I was going to have a draft to them in 30 days. And here's how I activated myself. If I did, and I sent this out to 100 people, if I did not get this draft to them in 30 days, then they would get the finished copy of the book for absolutely free. They would get the finished copy of the book absolutely free when it got finished after the 30 days. So here's how I just got myself off my seat. Now that I know I have 100 people who are waiting, in kind of a weird way, they want me to succeed because they love me, but then they also want me to fail a little bit because they want a free copy of the book. Now I'm activated, right? Now I have a deadline. See, we used to be told that if you have a goal, go write it down and put a date on it. Well, dates don't wake up and hold you accountable. Like May 1st isn't going to wake you up and say, hey, where's my book? May 1st will not do that. What holds us accountable are events that involve other people. So for other authors, you could actually say, here's my reading party, right? So essentially this was my reading party where I was going to have them come to my reading party. For musicians, I'll have them do a listening party. right? So if they're struggling getting their art out, they got 9 songs sitting on their hard drive and they need to get 3 more out, I'll have them send out the invitation for their listening party 30 days from now. And what will that force them to do? It'll force them to get all their 9 songs to the producer to get those mastered and write 3 more to finish the album, get the art ready. Because now they have people who are coming to their home for the listening party in 30 days. So this is how you get activated first. This is how you just get the energy in you just to go. Because otherwise you're like, people, my book isn't here now. People can wait. The book can wait. It can wait. It can wait. It can wait. Right? What's one day gonna hurt? Well, it actually does hurt because there are people right now who are waiting for your message. There are people who need your book right now, but you haven't written it. And so each day that you haven't written it, don't write, those people continue to suffer, even though you have a solution that can benefit them. And the way I like to think about it is like, I have the cure to cancer. I have a cure to cancer. If you found the cure to cancer, right? Like, let's say you were flipping through an old book on your bookshelf and out slipped a brown piece of paper and it said cure to cancer on it. And you looked at it and you were like, this could actually work. Once you knew you actually had the cure to cancer, what would you do? You would do everything possible to let everyone in the world who had cancer know that you had a solution. Well, you may not have the cure to the cancer that is actually eating people alive from the inside out, but you have the cure to somebody's type of cancer. You are the answer to somebody's problem. And again, for every day you don't show up, they continue to suffer from that problem. Okay? So that's how I think about it. That's how critical it is. You have to make it a life or death situation. And that know that people are relying on you and waiting for your message, your voice, and your solution. So that's the first thing is just activating yourself by getting other people involved, in your goal and in creating at least some sort of event, right? Dates don't hold us accountable. Events that involve other people. Create some sort of event in the near future that is going to activate you to get at least the first chunk out. This doesn't have to be perfect. You can make this your publishing party if you desire, right? Your book release party if you desire. But if you just do it as a first draft and as a reading, then it does not have to be perfect. And then you can do another 30-day do it after that for your actual book release party. Okay, so this is just how to get activated first. And you see, we haven't even talked about writing. So here's the next way, the next thing that I do to write the book. Like I said, I'm writing Freedom Before 40 right now. So after I get activated, the next thing I do is I just have a Google Doc, and I have a note on my phone and paper by my bed. And what this is saying is that the paper by my bed and the note on my phone and the Google Doc is just a receptacle. This is saying to my creative source and my whatever is inspiring me online or based on what I'm reading or what I'm thinking. This is saying I'm open and ready to receive the message that I'm supposed to give to the world. And I literally just dump all thoughts into a Google Doc, right? I dump all the thoughts into those spaces just to get them out of my head onto paper. Get them all out of my head onto paper. And that receiving space stays open for a period of time until I feel like I have enough richness, okay? So in that Google Doc, once I have enough material to work with, then I start organizing it like a puzzle. When you're putting a puzzle together, what do? You get a clear picture of what the full thing is. Because for some books, especially how-to books, they could go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. There could be no end. Like freedom, I'm going to continue to have new thoughts about freedom forever, right? And so I have to figure out what the finish line is for this book. There may be a book 2 and book 3, etc., but I have to figure out what the finish line for this book is. What's going to make this book complete? Okay. So once I have that finish line, then I start organizing all of those bullet points that I've been thinking and dumping in the Google Doc into a table of contents. It's not in any particular order yet. So this is unordered. So I'm just kind of chunking information. Oh, I want to talk about freedom and money. Then I want to talk about freedom in the mind. And then I want to talk about freedom in your work. Then I want to talk about freedom at home, right? So I start like bucketing. This is probably better called bucketing. Okay. So from there, Then I go into sequencing, okay? Sequencing. And this is about the journey I want to take the reader on, right? I want to start here with my narrative and my personal story, and then that actually naturally dovetails into this, which then leads to this, which then leads to this, which then leads to the conclusion. So then I start thinking about the journey. So I take these buckets and I say, which bucket is first, which bucket is second, which bucket is third, right? And I start sequencing the information, okay? And then from there, I have two routes. One is going to blow you away. From there, I have a show up and write one section a day, right? So I think of all of these, I think of everything that's there as kind of like blog posts, and I'm literally just committed to writing one blog post a day. I take this 3 bullets on this particular thing, and I turn that into essentially a blog post, right? A section with the subheading within a chapter. And I just focus on knocking out one a day. And in the table of contents, I will put done next to it. So now when I go back to the table of contents at the top of the document, I start to see, I can see this section is done, this section is done, this section is done, this section is done. And I can show up in the computer next day and not have to sift through anything. I say, this is where I feel most inspired. Let me do this undone section here, okay? That's one route. The other route is going to surprise you. And this is actually how I wrote this other book, Done with One-on-One Coaching. The route I took for this is, instead of actually writing a book, right? Instead, I recorded a book. What do I mean by that? I took the bullet points in the sequence and I turned it into a PowerPoint, right? So I'm very visual. So I created a visual of the book as a PowerPoint. And then I went to ScreenFlow. I went to some sort of recording technology. And basically, I just talked through the slides. And then once I talked through the slides and had the MP4, what did I do? I got it transcribed. For a few $100s on Fiverr.com. They send me back the document. I upload that as a new Google document. And because it's so vernacular, because I was just talking, I have to go back and fix some grammatical stuff. So I'll do that first pass. Then I'll send it off to an editor, which you have to do for both. Send it off to an editor. And voila. This process, right, of actually turning it into a PowerPoint, which I'm great at creating PowerPoints, and just simply recording, just speaking. It's easier sometimes than writing, right? Just speaking. This process is what I'm actually going to use for Freedom Before 40, is actually laying it out as a PowerPoint, talking through the PowerPoint and recording as I talk, getting it transcribed, and then getting it edited. In fact, some of these episodes of the Daily Jules you will find in Freedom Before 40. You will find some of these episodes transcribed in the Freedom Before 40 book. So this is how I go through my writing process. This is how I get books out the door in 30 days. Now, there's no urgency. I want this book to be one of my signature books, like the 8-Cylinder Success. You can see the difference between the 8-Cylinder Success and these books. That book is almost twice the size, right? But anytime I enter a new market, especially in this knowledge-based economy, I usually enter the market with a book. And so I'm excited about Freedom Before 40 and getting those thoughts and ideas that I have out there. I'm definitely going to be free before 40. I'm like near the finish line right now in terms of how free I feel. And I just want to share that information with other people. So this is how I think about the book writing process. I'll just recap really quickly. Use some sort of event that involves other people to activate yourself, right? To create a deadline, right? The only reason in college we showed up for tests and papers is because there was a deadline. We knew that there was somebody there who was going to hold us accountable, right? So we need that same exact thing to get activated on this writing process. Create a Google document that you can use as a dump for all your thoughts, define the finish line of the book, create a table of contents or start bucketing the information, right? Then start sequencing it. And then you can either do the show up method where you write one section every single day, or you can do the speak and record method and then get that transcribed, put that through an editor, and then voila. I publish my books all through CreateSpace, which is the Amazon a company that Amazon owns. Literally, once you have the document, the finalized document, you upload the PDF to CreateSpace, you upload the full cover as an image like this, and you will be a published author in 24 hours once they approve the text. It is that simple. It is that simple. So that's how I think about publishing and writing. I encourage everybody to write a book. Everybody has something to say, and you have something to give the world. And guess what? These books, if they are not trendy, they will actually outlive me, and I'm excited about that. So with that, I want to say thank you for listening to another episode of the Daily Jules. If you know another author out there or an aspiring author, please share this episode with them. I hope that this has increased your degrees of freedom, and I will talk to you soon. All right, much love. Peace. I hope these mindsets, metaphors, and methodologies blessed you. If you desire more freedom, go to getfreenow.com to subscribe to the show on iTunes, YouTube, or Facebook, and get 4 of my best courses in the Freedom School for 100% free.